Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Bani Chauhan from Images Group. Welcome to today's exciting webinar on AI Alchemy, Crafting Next-Gen Customer Experiences, proudly sponsored by Twilio. We are thrilled to have you join us as we delve into the transformative power of AI in reshaping how businesses should think about when designing their interaction with their customers. If you have any questions throughout the webinar, please feel free to submit it using the Q&A button at the bottom of your screen. Now, without further ado, let me introduce our speakers for today, Nicholas Kontopoulos and Shivram Chandrasekhar from Twilio. Nicholas, can you please tell us a little bit about yourself?
Hey, afternoon or morning to everyone. Yeah, as introduced, Nicholas Kontopoulos, based in Singapore, and I've got the great privilege of being the VP of Marketing for Twilio, and really excited to be here today. Shivram, we're going to introduce you in a second, but just to get things started, I thought I'd just do a little bit of a setup for today's session. And I'm genuinely really excited to be here to talk about a topic that actually I'm very passionate about. I'm passionate about customer experience, been involved in this space for, about actually must be coming up to 3 decades now. And over the next 30 minutes, I'm hoping to, share some insights on, maybe on key trends that we're seeing in customer experience. What are some of the demands that are being placed on business? And I would think of it in the context of maybe looking at us covering sort of 4 or 5 areas, looking at how do we build a data first customer engagement strategy, looking at how do we select the right tools and partners, in particular from an AI perspective, and then looking at also how do you get the most out of your technologies, and for me, a big area of focus on that just personally is looking at how do we experiment and use these technologies in new and exciting ways to really unlock the value and full potential of our teams. And most importantly, when it comes to AI, I'll touch on the importance of thinking about, compliance, trust, reputation management. I think these are really important things to think about when we start looking at how we unlock the power of predictive and generative AI capabilities. But before we get started, as I alluded to, I've got my good friend Shivram, who's also joining us. And maybe Shivram, can you do a quick intro on who you are, mate?
Absolutely, Nicholas. Thanks so much. Hey everyone, good afternoon and good evening to the audience. I'm a solutions architect at Twilio. I have about 5 years now of experience with Twilio itself, but several more years in the contact center industry. And I work very closely with with my colleagues in the Asia Pacific region. I'm really passionate about leveraging technology, especially cutting edge technology like generative AI, to solve long-standing issues in the customer engagement sphere. So really glad to meet you all and look forward to demoing the product to you.
Yeah, no, we've got an exciting demo set up for sure, and looking forward for you to show that. And look, as Shivram said, we're both very passionate about this topic, and I guess like most of you, over the last 18 months, we've had a lot of people talking about AI. Actually, there's a lot of AI experts out there. Now I'm not professing to be an AI expert. In actual fact, I'm coming here today as a practitioner, like many of you. I'm going to share insights on how I'm using these capabilities within my team and within our organization. And I want to explore some of like I said, some of the topics that I think we need to be thinking about when we look at how we use AI. Now, the great news is I've actually practicing what I preach. We've used AI in this deck build, and we're going to show you some live examples of how it can be used. I even had AI look at how it could improve my overall physique, much to my wife's, well, maybe feedback she gave me is like she wants this version of me. So I'm not sure I can achieve that. But again, I have used AI in prepping for this session in terms of being able to show how you can use AI in a generative AI in a way that can actually enhance content you present. And look, I'm going to start off by saying, revolutionary technology is rarely 100% new. And what I mean by that, it's more often than not a convergence of different technologies coming together, and making it providing the ability for brands to improve users' experience and ultimately their ability to engage customers. And I'd like to think back to 2007, when the iPhone was first launched. What we saw here was the perfect timing of a product that saw the convergence of several different technologies. Back then you had 3G, Wi-Fi, MP3 players, and other smartphones in existence. But what Apple really did was bring those capabilities together in a new and exciting ways. And they even made it better by also thinking about how they could connect, um, different devices, different capabilities. And this is where I really felt that they did a really smart job in creating a platform experience, that enabled, its customers, their customers to really be able to connect with one another, connect with data and other devices in a seamless way. And by doing this, they really did level up the ability to deliver great customer experiences. But it wasn't just them. Other great brands that I can think of that did a similar transformation and took advantage of convergence of different capabilities are like Alibaba, WeChat, Amazon. All of these you saw also establish themselves as, kings and queens of the marketplace. But what they did was create a one-stop tailored shopping experience. They brought the convergence of retail, entertainment, technology, payments, communications, and even groceries shopping. And they looked at how they could bring these different capabilities and technologies together in a new and exciting ways. So, what I see with AI is a convergence of, other technologies that have been around for some time. And again, AI, like when it first burst on the scene in terms of generative AI, a lot of my peers would say, hey, there's nothing new here. The AI has been around for some time, and they'd be right in saying that, because in actual fact, if you think about when AI itself was first coined, the term artificial intelligence was coined back in 1956. And then in 1959, we saw machine learning being coined. And as you look across this timeline, we've seen different types of AI robotic technologies taking shape, being deployed and utilized in business, and really driving significant transformation. But obviously there was a real turning point in 21-22 when we saw ChatGPT burst on the scene. And what we saw there was a convergence of different technologies and leveled up the ability of AI. So it wasn't just the large language models themselves. It was also the hardware that powers that. NVIDIA is obviously been a great beneficiary of that, but also a great enabler of enabling ChatGPT to scale the way it has. So really exciting to see these different technologies converging and ultimately creating new ways for us to engage our audiences. Again, and it's not just in the text-based world. We've seen this translate into the video. This again was an early example with Sora. Since then, we've seen huge improvements in the type of capabilities that video AI is how AI is transforming video content. So it's opening up a lot of new possibilities. And really what was interesting when I looked at sort of market research, according to IDC, 60% of Asia's top 2,000 firms will start to reallocate some of their budgets away from custom experience towards generative AI and phase out outdated software. And we have started to see a lot of companies reimagining and rethinking the way they deploy budgets. Now, even in this case, when they're saying they're reallocating budget away from custom experience towards generative AI, in all honesty, it's still going to benefit custom experience, because ultimately those capabilities that you will unlock through that redeployment of budget into these areas will ultimately enable you to drive much more powerful customer experiences. And I've given you some global data there, but if we look at some of our recent data that we've also conducted across the globe, but also most importantly in region and specifically in India, 51% of brands in India agrees that rapidly changing customer needs is a major challenge for them. Yet, interestingly, 75% of brands in India said they are already using AI to personalize content and marketing, which is really interesting and great and exciting to see. So why are businesses that are using AI still struggling to meet customer needs? Because this is the interesting point. When you actually go and survey those very customers that these brands are servicing, a lot of the insights coming back are telling us that they're not necessarily getting what they had hoped for. So we'll talk a bit more around why that might be in a moment. again, when we look at some research out of Australia, for every $1 invested in AI, businesses there are starting to see returns of $3.50. So this is really exciting to see. And also, what's really cool is 92% of those businesses reported that AI deployments are taking less than 12 months, which is really exciting to see as well. So the ability to deploy these capabilities on top of existing investments is a real possibility. And again, something we're seeing even in our own business at Twilio. So here's a question. How can we get the most out of AI? And ultimately, we really need to be thinking about customer engagement. And ultimately, where does customer engagement start? Well, it really does start with the data. We need to create ultimately a data flywheel that continues to learn. Again, this is not a necessarily new insight. A lot of us know the importance of data, but AI is only going to be as good as the data that we feed it. And this is a really important area. So really understanding what data is important and what type of data to use is going to be a critical enabler in terms of for you to be able to deploy AI tools and ultimately the supporting technologies that they're plugging into in enabling you to level up the way you serve your customers. Because the reality is a lot of businesses are still struggling in here. Big data came on the scene fast, it exploded, and then ultimately they enabled us, all these new capabilities have enabled us to generate lots of data. But it's really creating a lot of headaches for brands. And again, when we look at some of the research out of India, 46% of brands in India said connecting data across channels and sources is become and still is a real big problem. And 41% of those brands in India said that the lack of first-party data is a major challenge for them as well. And we'll talk a little bit more about first-party data and also zero-party data, which I think is an increasingly important data set for you to build and ultimately curate and manage carefully, because the insights that both zero and first party data are incredibly important, especially when it comes to the world of unlocking the power of these AI tools that are coming out now. And again, if we look at some additional data points here, 39% of brands in India said that turning data into customer insights is a top challenge for them, right? So this is an interesting area for us to focus on initially, because like I just alluded to, it's going to be a critical area for you to think about if you want to be able to successfully unlock the power of the AI tools that have been coming out now. And really, I sort of touched on sort of two important data sets, two critical data sets, and that is your zero-party data and first-party data. Most of us are familiar with first-party, third-party, and second-party data. And obviously, Google's now changed course in terms of its original thoughts of, switching off the ability to access third-party data. So that although it hasn't gone away completely, it is going to provide still some, significant limitations around in terms of the value it provides you. And as a marketing leader myself, I started to see this writing on the horizon for some time, and we started to really pivot away and look at how do we harness first-party data and ultimately zero-party data. And for me, zero-party data is the holy grail of data. This is the data that customers willingly share with you because there is a trust that's being built between you and that brand. They see that you're delivering them a utility through the ability of you to use that data, both the first and zero-party data, in a way that really translates into a meaningful impact for them. Now, a lot of us would have thought, and I was involved in this space on the client side before I came into technology, CRM was a key focus for me. It was like CRM was the holy grail. It was going to deliver us this 360-degree view of our customers, and it was going to enable us to take our whole customer engagement to the next level. But the reality is, CRM never delivered truly against that promise. Ultimately, it is a system of record. It's a legacy piece of software. It's important software, and it's not software that's going to go away anytime soon, but it is ultimately a system of record. So we need to think about also all the other data that sits in a business that is truly valuable. It's also going to help you enrich that customer experience. And that's data that's sitting in billing and logistics. It's in all these different silos. And again, I remember Gartner coined this term, which I absolutely loved, and that was this term called dark data, right? They coined this term because basically, if you think about it, we've got all this data sitting across our enterprise in CRM systems, ERP, your billing, you name it. All this data is customer contact center data. All of this data is sitting in these silos, and it's all disconnected, therefore dark to the organization. And really what we want to do is look at how do we unlock that data, because again, as the definition here says, it really does put some constraints around how you can operate. And this is where, by tapping into platforms like Twilio Segment CDP, for example, and building a unified profile, which we're going to show you an example of later, can really enable you to start really reimagining the way you engage those customers. So really, it's important that we think about how we take this zero and first party data we're collecting, and ultimately, as I sort of alluded to earlier, create a data engagement flywheel. Because without doing that, it's going to be really difficult for you to really engage your customers. But by capturing this data and using it in a smart way, and enriching and ultimately applying that data in terms of the way you target and engage customers, or you enable your customer service staff to serve those customers, is really going to enable you to have a better ability in terms of perceiving and understanding and activating the way you engage those customers, right? So that's really got to be at the heart of what we're trying to do here. So let's say this is you, right? Let's think about it. Like, most messages we receive really, end of the day, treat us more like this, right? They see us as a vanilla cookie versus a cookie with personality. And none of us really like, being treated like one of the masses, right? Think about all the emails that come into our inbox every day. I always feel bad for the marketers that when I'm deleting those emails. But the reality is, a lot of them haven't really personalized or individualized that experience. And this is where, again, we really want to look at how can we up-level the way we're engaging our customers? How do we move away from a cookie cutter approach? And again, some really interesting data here that I wanted to share with you from our customer engagement report for 24. 69% of consumers are likely to stop using a brand if they don't personalize or individualize the engagement by considering their needs, their expectations. Interestingly, also, 57% said they are likely to spend more money on brands that personalize or individualize that experience. So really, there's a real incentive there to really get access to that data and harness that data in a way that enables you to, up level the way you engage your customers. 65% of consumers in India said that they are more likely to recommend a brand to friends and families when a brand personalizes that experience. So again, that is a powerful data point to think about when you think about the upside that you can achieve when you're able to personalize or individualize that customer experience. So really, the challenge for us here is to really look at how important it is in the era of having customers that have increasingly high expectations, and looking at how do we use AI to enable us to connect with customers beyond the devices and screens, because that's often, I think, something that we sometimes get blinded to. We think of our customers in terms of screens and ultimately in an abstract way. And we really need to think about our customers in a much more personal, individual way. So I'm going to give you a little bit of a peek behind the screen here in terms of how I'm using AI personally and professionally in my life. And I honestly would put that this sort of 20 to 30% improvement in efficiency and effectiveness, I think, is a genuinely accurate reflection of what I'm seeing personally out of being able to use these tools, whether it's individually or as part of the team. So I really do see the value. And if I think about the tools that I'm using, and I'm not getting paid by any of these guys, I've got no shares in any of these companies, but these tools are tools that I've been using both within our business and at home. And I honestly am seeing huge improvements in my ability to be more productive and more effective in what I do. So I just wanted to share an insight just at a personal level, but also at a business level. We've been applying some of these capabilities in terms of within our Twilio organization, and we're seeing significant returns in terms of ability for us to reach customers in new and exciting ways. And I think it's really important when you embark on this journey, you need to think about it in not just from a technology perspective. And more often than not, people get really excited by the technology, and there's a lot of reasons to be, because the technology does really cool things. But the reality is, technology is only good as the people you provide access to that technology, and also the processes and the business processes that you can reimagine through the use of these technologies in much smarter ways. So it's really critical when I think about the transformation we've been driving internally with our use of these technologies. We really started with people and process. We really looked at how do we build, cross-functional expertise, looked at training and change management. I think these are areas that I continually see a lot of businesses failing to really account for when they're planning their transformational projects. Really looking at bringing all of the folks involved in delivering against a great customer experience, and then ultimately making the investments in how you're going to train and ultimately drive successful change management. And most importantly, building a continuous feedback loop. How's the technology working? Is it enabling you to achieve the goals we anticipated? What are the areas of improvement that are required? And having a continuous feedback loop is so critically important. If I look at all my customers I get to serve, the ones that really successfully deploy technologies in a way that does enable them to level up really do focus in on these three key areas. And the reality is every one of our organizations is unique. It has its own DNA. We need to understand that because, again, there's no silver bullet here. Anyone that tries to sell you a silver bullet, you should avoid at all costs, because the reality is all of our business is different. But there are some guiding principles that we can all benefit from. So for us at Twilio, one of the key areas of focus is when it comes to AI is looking at transparency. This is a really important point for us. We really feel that this is an incredible, important approach that we use to how we deploy and utilize these capabilities. In actual fact, we were an early pioneer of this idea of creating an AI nutrition facts. These are like, similar to the nutrition facts you get on food you buy. We're advocating the idea of looking at how you can create similar labels for your products or the use of those types of products within your business. So you'll see a QR code here. I'm hoping that QR code still works. I forgot to check before we came on, but hopefully that will take you to a landing page, which will give you an idea of how you might want to approach utilizing something like this in your own journey. A few ways to approach AI on your business. I wanted to share some thoughts on this with you as well as part of this session. For me, obviously, doing your prep work is really critical. A key area of investment, I think, is really, putting the time in to really understand what is your data strategy going to be. Don't ignore this. Quality data is ultimately going to be a key ingredient in terms of your ability to create genuine brand utility, the ability to really help communicate with your customers, and also, most importantly, empower your employees to engage with them effectively. So having clearly defined objectives and priorities is also going to be important. And for us, at Twilio, transparency, responsibility, and accountability. These are three areas that we really think are absolutely critical as well. So I would look at, how do you make sure that you apply this in terms of being transparent and how you're using AI. The nutrition facts is what I gave as a good example. How are you being responsible and making sure you manage the customer data you're collecting and protecting that data is going to be really important. And also, obviously, being able to demonstrate your willingness to be held accountable and being accountable for that, because it is a real great privilege to be custodians of customer data. We need to demonstrate we really value that trust they're placing in us. In actual fact, trust is the bedrock of customer experience. So if you want to build a really great customer experience, you need to really understand the importance of trust and the role it has in building that customer experiences. And we feel these principles have informed how we move forward in providing AI technologies to our own customers, but also inform how we will operate with our own approach to AI and the utilization of that in our business as well. So raise awareness within your business is another area I would say is important as well, and work with your people, bring them on the journey. I remember when AI burst onto the scenes, I shared with my team, I'd love to say I came up with this, but I saw I can't remember who it was, but they said machines were created to do the jobs that people couldn't do. But we now are fast moving into a situation where people will do the jobs that machines are unable to do, right? So I really do feel that it's important that we bring our people on the journey, help them understand how they can lean into these tools and utilize these tools in a way that enables them to be more effective. I think having that open dialogue, bringing them on the journey, training them and enabling them to understand how to get the best and most out of these tools will ultimately enable them to, help them actually grow and scale in new ways. As I said earlier, I've seen a 20 to 30% improvement in my own ability to be from an efficiency effectiveness perspective. So I think if we lean into AI and educate ourselves and our teams on how to use these tools, we can see those teams achieve even greater things than they're doing today. Create a culture of experimentation and learning. I think this is absolutely critical as well. We need to be thinking about how do we help enable our teams to get the most out of these capabilities, to really play with the technologies and enable them to discover new ways to engage with our customers. A great brand that I want to introduce here is Trade Me. They're the largest online auction website in New Zealand. In actual fact, they're so big and they got so well established early on, eBay never went into New Zealand. So these guys are basically the eBay of New Zealand. I'm going to show a short video that explains their journey with you all.
Bid, buy, add, watch, sell. This is what 650,000 Kiwis do every day on New Zealand's largest auction site, Trade Me. To help the Trade Me business grow, the marketing team needed a way to predict future buyer and seller behavior without additional data science resources. Right out of the box, Twilio's customer AI predictions identified how customers were likely to behave, allowing for more targeted, timely, and personalized email campaigns to their customers. This deeper and more complete understanding of the Trade Me audience resulted in around 3 times more successful campaigns, with a 10% increase in click-through rates and 20% increase in open rates, which meant more bids on this. Cool wheels. Finding a flatmate for here. This neighborhood. Or going all in on this. Because building smarter campaigns means driving better results.
It's a great example of a brand that is using, AI to really reimagine the way they engage their customers. And in their case, they've got the end consumer and the seller, the buyer and seller, and they're acting as in between, go-between in that. So they're using this technology to better engage their customers, end customer, as well as the parties that are selling on their platform. I got the great privilege of meeting the guy that led that transformation program there at Trade Me. And when I asked him, I said, how, was this just was there a silver bullet here, or what was it a case of really investing in people, process, and technology? And he said he couldn't stress the importance of making those investments in the people and bringing the teams together that need to come together to be able to unlock that dark data I referenced earlier and shine a light on it in a way that enables you to achieve the great successes they've had in partnership with ourselves. So really, the future of AI-powered customer service is going to be really, it's going to be reimagined, and is already being reimagined by a lot of great brands out there. And I'm gonna bring on Shivram here, who's going to show you how you can reimagine that customer experience. So Shivram, I think you're gonna share your screen now, so I'll stop sharing here. And whilst you bring that up, we're looking forward to you sharing some insights on once the folks here have started to invest in really understanding their data strategy, how they're going to bring their people and processes together. Let's show them now how that technology that is now available could potentially enable them to achieve some really remarkable results. So over to you, mate.
Yeah, absolutely, Nicholas. It was really quite stunning to hear the words 1956 and generative AI in the same sentence. Next, you'll be telling me that the moon landing was live streamed on TikTok. Anyway, thank you for that fascinating look at how AI has evolved and is now transforming practically every interaction that we have on a daily basis. It's pretty clear that AI is no longer just a buzzword. It's a driving force shaping how we interact with technology and with each other. But what does this mean for customer engagement? How is AI, artificial intelligence, specifically generative AI, revolutionizing the way businesses connect with their customers and elevate the service experience? So let's see where the rubber meets the road in the world of customer engagement. I'll be demonstrating a Twilio-powered virtual agent built with retail AI, a solution that leverages generative AI as well as real-time voice streaming to deliver an intelligent, personalized, and seamless self-service experience. We've seen this in chat, but it is really truly stunning to see the same capability in a voice bot as well. And this is really game-changing technology. I've been in this field for a long time, and this is really exciting. So this technology can fulfill critical business needs and transform customer interactions like we've never seen before. So the demo is going to be for what is hopefully a familiar name, Fab India. It's Fab India is an Indian retail brand, of course, known for its handcrafted products, including apparel, home furnishings, and organic food sourced from rural artisans in India, in all parts of India. It celebrates traditional Indian craftsmanship while promoting sustainable livelihoods. So we'll have a virtual agent that helps the customers of Fab India. And as I walk you through this demo, I'd like you to keep an eye out for a few things that really showcase the power of this virtual agent. First, the agent's natural language proficiency will be evident. Okay, so it understands not just what is said, but also the intent behind it, handling complex questions and phrasing with ease. So think ChatGPT and large language models. It has the knowledge of the natural world, and it's able to put that to use to interpret even complex questions that are posed to it by the human. You'll also observe the virtual agent's capacity to ingest and use knowledge bases. So in addition to the knowledge of the natural world, the agent can be augmented with information that is a rich source of business information, which allows it to pull precise and accurate answers. But it's also able to stitch together a composite answer from multiple data sources. They could be FAQs or policy documents, and it could ingest these directly from websites and other sources. Okay. The virtual agent also brings personalization capabilities. It doesn't just respond generically, right? So it has the ability to dip into a backend database, for example, as like a CRM or an order management system, and retrieve information that is specific to you, to that particular situation, and it then tailors its answers to who you are, what you need, your specific situation, creating a highly relevant and personalized experience. So historically, you will know that these are the kind of experiences we haven't got from automated systems. And the reason why people hit the 0 button to speak to a human the moment they have the opportunity. Next, this is really exciting. Notice how the virtual agent can be interrupted. Okay, you don't have to wait for it to finish talking before jumping in, and you could provide it fresh information. You can say, "Hey, sorry, that's not what I meant. This is actually what I need," and the agent will then go back and use that, pause itself, use that fresh information, go back and generate a fresh response for you. So this makes an interaction feel natural and conversational, just like speaking to a person. And finally, you'll notice that the virtual agent will never say, "I don't understand you." Instead, it's designed to ask clarifying questions or to guide the conversation. So if the customer says something unusual, for example, then it's capable of using wit or humor to respond to that comment and gently maybe steering the customer back to the topic at hand, thereby ensuring that the interaction is always productive and satisfying. So with that, let's dive in and see the AI assistant in action for Fab India. All right, just give me a minute. And I hope everyone can see my screen. So I'm going to test this agent out. I have given this agent some personality and some guidelines on how to interact with callers. And it's also been augmented with an FAQ page that is on the Fab India website. So it has access to all that content that's on that. You can obviously add multiple such knowledge-based sources. And the assistant will be capable of retrieving information from multiple sources, composing a coherent response, and presenting that back to the customer in near real time, which is really exciting. Let's take a look.
Hi there. This is Manisha from Fabulous India. How can I assist you today?
Hey, Manisha. I'm wondering if you could recommend what to wear for an Indian wedding. I'm headed to India for a friend's wedding in a couple of weeks, and I'm wondering what to wear, something ethnic.
Sure. Oh, how exciting. For an Indian wedding, ethnic wear is definitely the way to go. For women, an anarkali suit, sari, or lehenga would be perfect.
Hey, sorry, Manisha, I'm a
Vib-
guy. So yeah, if you could recommend things for guys.
Got it. For men, a kurta pajama or a sherwani would be ideal for an Indian wedding. You can go for something with intricate embroidery or rich fabrics like silk for a more festive vibe. Pair it with modris or jyotis for the perfect look. Would you like me to send you some options on WhatsApp?
That'd be great. If you could send me some pictures on WhatsApp, I could select one of those.
Sure thing. Could you share your WhatsApp number with me and I'll send over some great options for kurtas and sherwanis right away?
Yeah. My number is +65 for Singapore, 96961040.
Got it. I'll send you some amazing options for kurtas and sherwanis on WhatsApp shortly. Let me know if you need help with anything else.
Hey, Manisha, the maroon Sherwani looks good. I'm just wondering,
Great choice.
the wedding is going to be held, it's open air, it's going to be held in the evening under lights. Would the maroon
Okay.
with the gold trim look good under those lights?
Choice. The maroon sherwani with gold trim will look absolutely stunning under evening lights, especially in an open air setting. The rich maroon will pop beautifully, and the gold detailing will add that festive sparkle. You'll definitely stand out in the best way. Would you like me to help place an order for it?
Yeah, could you help reserve it at the Pune branch? I'm not sure where your outlet is located. I'm going to be
Sure.
in
I'll
Pune on the 5th of December, and the wedding's on the 7th. So I really don't have much time to pop by and pick it up. But if you could reserve it, that'd be great.
Got it. I'll reserve the maroon sherwani with gold trim for you at our Pune outlet. You can pick it up on the 5th of December. Let me quickly confirm the reservation for you. Just a moment.
That's great. Is it confirmed?
Yes, it's all set. The maroon sherwani with gold trim is reserved for you at our Pune outlet. You can pick it up on the 5th of December. I'll also send you the store location on WhatsApp for convenience. Anything else I can help you with?
Yeah, Manisha, by the way, I just realized that the last bill that I was given has an item that I didn't really purchase. So I think they might have made a mistake on it.
Sure. Oh no, I'm so sorry to hear that. Let me help sort this out for you. Could you share the date of purchase, the store location, and the bill details? I'll check it right away.
I can't remember the exact date. It must have been about a week ago, maybe. And
No.
yeah, this was at the RCT outlet.
Thanks for the details. Let me quickly check the purchase records for the RCT outlet from about a week ago.
I have the
Hang
bill
tight for a
number.
moment.
Will that help you?
Oh yes, that would be super helpful. Could you share the bill number with me?
Yeah, it's A for Alpha 000 678 80G.
Thanks for sharing that. Let me quickly look into it. Just a moment, please.
Do you find it?
Yes, I've located the purchase details. I can see that you made a purchase at the RCT outlet about a week ago. I've created an incident ticket for this issue, and our customer support team will contact you within 24 hours to resolve it. Would you like me to send the ticket number to you on WhatsApp?
Yeah, that'll be great. Thanks.
You're welcome. I'll send the ticket number to you on WhatsApp right away. Let me
Hey.
know if there's anything else I can assist you with.
And how will you all be refunding the amount to me? I think it's about 600 plus rupees.
Right. Once the issue is resolved, the refund can be processed either back to your original payment method or as store credit, whichever you prefer. Let me know your choice and I'll make a note of it for the team.
So I guess it'll be paid back to my credit card.
Got it. I'll note that you'd like the refund to be credited back to your credit card. The team will ensure it's processed once the issue is resolved. Anything else I can help you with?
No, Manisha, thanks so much for your help.
You're most welcome. Have a great time at the wedding and feel free to reach out if you need anything else. Take care.
All right. So hope that gave you a good snapshot of what is possible today with a voice bot. And what you just saw is how generative AI powered virtual agents like this one can truly transform customer engagement by delivering fast, intelligent, and personalized service. So as you saw, the assistant's ability to understand natural language, adapt to interruptions, and leverage knowledge bases and even customer databases ensures the interaction is seamless and effective. It's a solution that not only meets customer expectations, but also reduces operational costs, as you can imagine, and improves scalability. So you can now provide this kind of service around the clock and really deliver on a lot of use cases that previously would require a human to interact with the customer. And of course, you can reserve the really high value interactions for your human agents. This is truly the future of customer engagement, proactive, responsive, and consistently delivering exceptional value. With that, it's back to you, Nicholas.
Mate, great example of just how powerful this capability is and what it can mean for a business. So just give me one quick second while I get myself back hopefully on screen. Just give me 1 second here. And Shivram, I might need you to tell me if my screen is showing up correctly as a full screen. I should say, let's all welcome Shivram, right? Is that what you're seeing on screen?
Yes.
I guess what I can say now is a big thank you to you for that, mate. Really appreciate it. And I'm now back on screen. But yeah, really powerful example. And what I loved about that, Shivram, is we're seeing the use of, really, great and exciting technology, but it's also empowering businesses to really engage the customers at scale. So if you've got a retail outlet, a lot of those staff are obviously heads down servicing customers in store. So if someone dials in now, you could literally run, concurrent conversations with customers that maybe are familiar with that local retail store, but have dialed in instead of come into the actual physical store to get a problem resolved, right? So this really increases the capacity of and ability to serve those customers in a much more personalized, humanized way, right? So, and again, through that interaction, what we're seeing is data is being collected as well, right? First party and zero party data, which we talked about earlier, and that's being fed back into a unified profile capability that can then be used to either serve in the moment additional contextually relevant insights and information, but also enable post sales support, in a much more meaningful way, right? Am I correct in saying that, Shivram?
100%, Nicholas.
Yeah. So really great. Thank you, matey. We'll we're coming to the back end and we're going to have some Q&A sessions. So if you got any great questions, make sure you post them in the Q&A section, because I'm going to give all the hard ones to Shivram. I'll take the easy ones. But the key takeaways I want you to leave you with is this technology is evolving so quickly, and these capabilities, as we've just seen a live demo of, right, through a webinar session, of the power of this capability and what it can really mean in terms of transforming the experiences. And I fully expect to see this capability expand into video. Like, think about this video, which is of a lady walking down the streets of Tokyo. But imagine in this case, it's me going to Mumbai and I'm looking to travel to Mumbai and I want to get an idea of what the latest fashion and trends are. Me be able to maybe have a rendering of me walking through the streets of Mumbai, or other parts of the world where I can then see those items of clothing, on myself and then make a purchase straight from the device. I fully expect these capabilities to be coming online in the future. So really what I want to encourage you and leave you with is this idea that we shouldn't be afraid to experiment with technology. We should in actual fact lean into that. Like I said, as a VP of marketing, I was quick to lean into generative AI in particular, but also was using predictive AI. And I've seen really, really great benefits for me and my team as a result of that. So you really want to create a culture of experimentation. Remember, each of your businesses have a unique DNA. So it really doesn't help you to copy your peers because your peers will have different organizational structures and cultural DNA. You really need to look at your own business. That's why I say start with your people, really understand how these capabilities can enable them to deliver against the brand promises you're making to your customers, and have technology should enable them to do that at scale, in a contextually relevant way. So really understand the DNA of your organization, really start with your people of your organization. Also create, I would say, a fearless sense of curiosity. Really, we should be encouraging ourselves and our teams to be constantly curious and exploring how we can use these new capabilities to really reimagine the way we engage our customers. Now, I'm very fortunate that in my job, I get to meet lots of smart people, whether they're customers or partners or real thinkers in this space. So we had a series that we wrapped up just recently called Decoding AI. It's about 7-part series, and I do a fireside chat with really great thinkers like Sharon here, who back in July I had a great conversation with. But there's about 6 or 7 other thinkers that I engaged with. So if you really want to hear from other thinkers in this space, I'd encourage you to use this QR code, go into the webinar series and really explore the thoughts of other great thinkers from all over the world on how they're thinking about AI. And they share some really practical insights on what we need to be thinking about to get the best out of these new capabilities. And more importantly, how to avoid the snake oil salesmen out there. Again, I've got this PDF, a version of this presentation for you if you'd like to have an access of that or share that with your peers. So again, feel free to use this QR code now to scan that and download a PDF version of this presentation I delivered today. I'm also on LinkedIn. Feel free to connect with me there. At Twilio, we often say we can't wait to see what you build. And genuinely, I'm looking forward to hopefully connecting with many of you moving forward. I'd like to say, that's a wrap, and I will reassure you that this deck was brought to you using humans. There were 4 humans involved in this, but we also used 5 AI tools and lots of coffee in building this. So again, really, hopefully you see a great example of how technology can really enable you to drive a transformational change in how you even tell your story. So with that, I want to thank you. And we're going to move to a Q&A session now. So I'll stop sharing my screen and we'll go back to just having Shivram and myself full screen here. So hopefully you can see us. Have I moved out of the presentation mode there, Shivram?
Yep. Yes, you have.
Awesome. Awesome. So we've got some questions. Awesome. Excellent. It's great to see some questions coming in here. One to get us warmed up with here is, what are some practical tips on how to effectively collect and manage first-party data across multiple channels, including websites, in-store interactions, and mobile apps? Well, mate, great question. I think, maybe some things that spring to mind straight away would be, first and foremost, really establishing a clear data strategy. I think that was really important. I think I brought that out earlier in the presentation. Really looking at how you optimize the ability to collect, zero and first party data, I think is really important. So you need to think, like, as a marketer, I need to then think about, how do I create engagement experiences that create trust with that customer, that enable them to want to share that data. A really practical, simple example I often use, my wife used to be a personal trainer. I remember I was wanting to get fit. She downloaded a health app from a well-known, international health brand or athletic brand. We use that app to then set some goals in terms of what my weight loss I wanted to get, what type of exercise, how often I wanted to exercise. I shared some really personal insights, my weight, my measurements, all of this data, right? This is a great example of an app and a brand that's created an app that is, creating an ability for me to share zero-party data. This is me willingly sharing this data in a way. And why am I doing that? Because I'm seeing a material value, or I'm hope to see, in this case, did see a material utility being returned back to me. So this is a really good, simple, practical example of how you can create an engagement experience that leads to a consumer, willingly sharing that data. Now, how could that data be used by the brand? Well, aside from just keep helping me stay informed about my health and my progress, it can also then be used to make some recommendations. Maybe, I bought a pair of trainers from this brand. I put the data in the purchase date. I enter in what type of conditions I'm going to be running in. It knows how many steps and how long I'm running for. So it can use that data then to gauge when those shoes are coming to end of life, and then make some recommendations at an appropriate time in a contextually relevant way as to when I should maybe think about buying some new shoes. Or maybe I'm moving from summer into winter, or into autumn, and then ultimately into winter. As I move through the seasons, it can make recommendation on the type of kit I need, to exercise. So these are really practical examples of how a brand might use zero and first party data in a way to create an improved experience, but ultimately deliver a utility to me, but also help the brand engage me in a more contextually relevant way. So hopefully that gives you an example there. Really great question. What strategies can we employ to enhance customer engagement and retention using first party data? Shivram, aside from the example I just gave, which I also think would be applicable here, can you give any other examples of how what type of strategies that brands could employ to enhance a customer engagement retention through zero and first party data?
I guess the real value, Nicholas, of first party data is this is directly coming from your customer, right? So if you've got activity that the customer has performed in any kind of touch point with the organization, so it could have been a simple thing such as an action on a mobile app, right? So if you've got a mobile app and your customer is browsing that, maybe looking at a particular function, trying to do something, running into issues, that's something that can be brought back into your CDP. And when that customer subsequently contacts customer support, firstly, you could be proactive about it, right? And reach out to the customer to offer assistance. But if they reached out to your customer support executives are now armed with that information, right?
Yeah.
So then you're no longer reactive and asking, how can I assist? Instead, you're saying, hey, I noticed that you had this issue, you ran into this problem. Is this what you're calling regarding? So really capable of delivering powerful, personalized service experience. But also from the sales perspective, if I knew that a customer browsed my website, picked a product and put it into his cart and didn't proceed with the purchase, if that information was available to me, then I could use that to immediately, and remember that the CDP consumes data in real time, right? So these kind of real-time information can then be consumed and then put to good use, perhaps offering that customer a flash discount and creating a sale where none existed.
Yeah, great examples there. And again, a great question. In terms of from a technology perspective, where Twilio really excels, and I know I'm slightly biased, but what I get excited about is, how we bring communications, contextual data, and AI capabilities together to really, help us scale the way we can personalize our customer experiences. But it's not just about the customers, Shivram, right? It's also about how we empower the employees to deliver excellent and delightful customer experience. I think this is a really important point as well, because if you think about a lot of employees, why they get frustrated with companies is often the tools that they're given don't enable them to really serve customers. Think of a contact center again. Having an AI co-pilot that's sitting there working with you and helping, and as you sort of alluded to, anticipating what a customer's problem might be and serving up immediately some prompts or some insights on how that agent could effectively turn a negative into a positive is a really empowering and also delightful experience, not just for the customer, but also for the employee, right? So if we think about contact centers, historically, a lot of them have high churn rates. And a lot of this, if you really double click into why that is the case, it's normally because the promises made to them that you're going to be an employer that's going to enable you to deliver great customer experiences falls short because they've got to access 17 different systems to solve the problem, right? So I think that's also another important point. It's also about how do you not just deliver delightful customer experiences, it's also how do you deliver delightful employee experiences that enable them to effectively serve their customers. So really great question. I've got another great question here from Terrence, actually. First of all, he said, great content and demos. So thank you very much, Terrence. We really appreciate that. We talked about people, process, and technology. Do you see customers starting to get their teams enabled on writing better prompts for their engagement strategy? What seems to be the best approach, if any, that other customers can emulate? I definitely think, if I just go to me first and, I'll come to you, Chevron. If I just think about my own personal journey, that was definitely an area that I've invested a lot of time in, and practice and enablement in looking at how I could use prompting as a better used, really use prompts to get to the answers I was looking for or to create the content I needed to. So I definitely think prompting is an important part of the process. I think businesses will need to invest in that. I definitely see that as part of a capability that it needs to be built into the businesses. And again, a lot of the tools that get sold to you will, will enable you to also look at how do you take the existing models that come. So if we look at Twilio segment, obviously we come with models that have been created for you that enable you to start using it out of the box, but there will be opportunities for the business, right, Shivram, for them to have, they will need to have and want to have skills in-house that enable them to, design their own prompts and push the technology even further in ways that give them a unique competitive advantage. Is that a fair statement, Shivram?
Absolutely, Nicholas. And, specifically with regard to the generative AI, I'm not sure whether Terrence was referring to that. The kind of prompts that you can write to guide your generative AI assistant, Terrence, firstly, gone are the days where you needed to script out or generate call flows, design call flows for every nook and cranny of your product and service offerings, right? So you don't have to instruct the assistant on how to respond to queries. It's able to actually consume knowledge in different ways, right? It's able to look at knowledge bases, FAQs, consume entire documents, PDFs, PowerPoints, Excel spreadsheets. It can consume knowledge from a variety of data sources, even vector databases, and then stitch together a response. So the kind of personality prompts or guidelines that you would want to provide to your virtual assistant would be, I guess the general guidelines I would say would be clear, be specific, be goal-oriented, define your target audience, what is your desired outcome, and what's the tone that the virtual assistant should adopt. So for example, you might say something like, generate a friendly response to a person who comes with a grievance, right? So try and diffuse the situation before providing or exploring a solution. You could include context, so you could have the virtual assistant instruct the virtual assistant to go and dip into a customer database or look at past interaction history of the customer, and then use that information to guide the AI, right? And you can then further place guardrails. You can say, oh, keep your responses concise, and try and do a gentle upsell or cross-sell attempt at the end. So in some sense, essentially what you're trying to do is to emulate what a live agent, a human agent would be doing, right? And with the power of generative AI, we can finally try and come close to that. Of course, we would never really replace a human, but we can come pretty darn close.
Look, Shivram, great answer. And there's a few other questions here, which sadly we're not going to get to. But again, feel free to connect with Shivram and myself via LinkedIn. I don't think you'll find too many Nicholas Kontopoulos on LinkedIn, so you should be able to find me. I operate an open network, so long as you don't try to sell to me, and I promise I won't sell to you if we connect. But Bani, I'm going to bring you back on. But before Bani comes back on to wrap up, Shivram, thank you very much for joining me today and delivering a wonderful demo. And again, really appreciate everyone taking time out of their busy schedule to listen to Shivram and I bang on about a topic that we're passionate about. But Bani, I'm going to hand back to you, matey, and thank you for hosting us today.
We have one more question, by the way, if you want to take it.
Oh, okay. Okay, we've got another
From
one.
Chaya Chan, yeah.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Sorry, I missed that one. Yeah. So curious if Fab India or any other apparel brand is using AI in their product development process, and if so, how?
I'll take that, Nick.
Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, so we've used Fab AI as just a demo in this particular demo scenario. So this is not live, but I wouldn't be surprised at all if they were actively exploring technology like this. Okay, so
yeah, so we basically picked them as a great sort of local brand that potentially could utilize a capability like this. They're not an active customer at the moment, from what I understand. But yeah, great question. And look, again, really appreciate you guys attending today. Feel free to reach out to us. And Bunny, I'll bring you back on just to wrap up the session for us. Thank you.
Thank you, Nicholas. Thank you for answering. Thank you, Shivram. Thank you, everyone, for joining us today. After the webinar, you'll receive an email with links to resources to further your journey using AI to deliver delightful customer engagements and experiences. We have built an exciting library of content for you. In the email, you'll find the link to our webinar hub. There you can view our on-demand webinars or see what's coming up. We'll be delivering more thought-provoking content in 2025, so do keep an eye out for our upcoming activities, and we hope to see you again. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank
Ciao,
you.
ciao.
Thank you, everyone.